All right. Well, I see Winverse has started, so I guess we may as well get started as well. GM one and all, welcome to our weekly all hands for May 7th, 2025. And this is our tactical meet where we're going to sync up on work that we're doing around BCard, eliminate blockers, and prioritize our work for the next week. Just FYI, this call is recorded, so if you don't want to be on social media, just let me know. What we do, we're here to help purpose-driven communities use Web3 tooling to generate revenue and engagement. And lately, we've been looking more at the engagement side of things. On the lag metric side, what we're trying to achieve, we had 280 of transaction volume last week. So that's a little bit up from the week previous. On the lead metric side, we have 4 weekly transacting users, 0 new users, and 11 communities deployed. I see Arkusti said that he lost some audio there. Can everyone else hear me?
Yep, I got you.
Yes, I can hear you.
For a little bit, but you're back.
You're just fine.
Okay. Woo. And I forgot to take a quick attendance, but I'll do. I see that NF Thinker kind of snuck in. So let me put that in here. Roast on R50, Shelby, Winverse, and NF Thinker. Nice. Okay. Going down the list, some team-wide announcements. We are looking for people to start calling nonprofits. So anyone who wants to get us a new nonprofit, we can figure out what the bounty for that is. But in general, we are looking at like what are some kinds of bounties that we can have. I may as well write that down. We are looking at some standard bounties for new joiners to be able to contribute. And potentially posting them just on our Discord, so it's easy to see. For instance, often when we have a new community, NF Thinker will create a card image for us, and we've kind of agreed on a bounty for that. We also agreed on standard bounties for article writing, and potentially standard bounties for sales, like getting new communities on. So all this to say that trying to make it easier for new people to kind of tap in as we go. All right, moving down. No new members, but we'll get into the milestones. In terms of 10 weekly transacting users, I think for now, we're aiming to get to a place where we are getting new users. That's going to help us, I think, get those weekly transacting users. It feels like we're kind of maxed out on we're kind of like middling on the 4 for what we have. So we need to have something that provides a little bit more value, and we're working on that, but we're also working on getting some of these new users. In general, all of the functionality that we have is kind of gated behind getting a card, which is a pretty big ask for people to give a social security number and such. So we're going to need to add some more functionality, which is what we're aiming at doing on our community pages. Speaking of community pages, Tom, do you want to give an update on this? Are you able to, Tom? You're muted right now. I don't know if you know that.
Yep, sorry, I was just rattling off a lot of information to the void. So yeah, just working away a little bit on getting that integration in place using Privy's REST API to communicate a little bit of a login capability. Trying out some different deployments, falling back with Vercel to try to get things working, trying Vercel's serverless functions. So far, not really having a lot of luck. So I built kind of a little mock UI that does a little login with a little dashboard that does this sort of thing. But having some difficulty to get the Privy API integrated as such. So it's probably some security configuration things on my end that I got to work out, but I will pop a link in our notes so that people can take a peek, do some login tests, and let me know what they think with hands-on.
All right, awesome. Yeah, if you wanted to do like a pair code or something, we could do it as well, or I could get the I could like reach out to Privy on their Slack as well to see if we could get some help on it.
Yeah, I think it's something along the lines of we're trying to be like too ginger with our front end only instance deployment, but yeah, there's certainly going to be workarounds that we'll be able to get to with a little bit of putting our heads together.
Okay. Yeah, it would be nice front end only would be really the ideal, even if we have to use a different technology other than Hugo. Just like a static site would be really nice, but I understand if it's potentially not possible, we'd have to figure out another way to do it. But anyways, I don't want to get into too many different technical discussions with the larger group here. But yeah, we can talk about it a little bit more deeply at the product meet tomorrow if you like.
Yep, sounds good.
All right. Cool. Sounds good. We also have our in-app voting and endowment fund. I am aiming to put up April snapshots this week. Just 2 events this month. I'll try to get a couple more for the next month. So for May, since the beginning of the month, we have a couple things that we could be doing. But in general, aiming to get that snapshot up hopefully today, knock on wood, and then start to traffic it a little bit. Next up, we're going to disperse the Black Flag token more widely and write a proposal for nouns. I met a couple nouners in FarCon, and they definitely encouraged us to move forward with that. All right. Moving down the list, have 10 high-quality communities. Glow Dollar and Chippy email. We're waiting on Glow. Actually, NF Thinker, have you heard from Glow recently?
No, I hadn't heard back from Lana after I sent that message. Maybe I missed it, but I don't think so. I'll double check and just a sec here.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks for that. And then we also have a cover image for ChippyCon. Drost, did you need help creating a cover image?
Well, I just haven't had time to do anything because I've been traveling. So
Yeah.
I'm not the best at creating images. I can do it. What image are you talking about? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so let me show you. On our paragraph, we have basically the email that
You're
you
not
wrote.
sharing your screen.
Can you see it now?
Oh, there it is. I'm sorry. I had to scroll.
Yeah. So when you I put most of the email that you wrote into here.
Uh-huh.
I did a couple edits, but basically just want to add a cover image.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
Like a banner?
Exactly. Yeah, you can see probably some of the other ones that we've done here. So, we have they're really, actually, it's not even showing it here. Yeah, weird. Anyways, some of them are not showing, which is, probably because those are all drafts. So you can see we just have some cover images. There's some blank ones that we use, some ones that got created. We have kind of some default ones and stuff like that, but ultimately, yeah, they're just mainly banners.
Oh, okay. I'm at a place now where I have time to do a couple things, and so yeah, if I have trouble doing, I haven't done graphics in a while, but if I have trouble doing it, I'll ping you or ping NF or something.
Drost, I can help you out with graphics.
Okay, that would be nice.
Nice.
Do you need anything from me?
We'll just chat in DMs and then figure out exactly what we need.
Cool. Thanks.
Okay,
I appreciate
perfect. Yep.
Yeah, and feel free to use the BCard Chippy image. Actually, I have a high quality version of it somewhere. Here, I'll send it over to you guys as well. Or you know what? I'll just stick it in the team chat. Will it be high quality?
Wait, is this the one with the unicorn horn or without the unicorn horn?
It's with the unicorn horn.
Excellent.
Yeah. So I'm sure that's on the BCard
Oh yeah, I got that
too.
Sure,
okay,
sure.
Good.
Yeah, I have.
Okay. Did we get that reminted on? Wasn't there it moved from mainnet to something else, didn't it?
I honestly have no idea if we got it reminted. I remember reminting my own, but I don't remember reminting this one.
I don't either. Okay, I'll speak to Percy because I have to actually get my old ones reminted. So, okay.
All right, thanks a lot. And then we can send those out when we're able to. And again, this is a campaign. It's worth more if we have a cross post campaign. So honestly, not really worth it for us to do it until we actually get Glow on board.
Okay.
All right. On the sales pipeline side, I don't think there's been any progress. I don't know, Shelby. I feel like we both each called one, and then we haven't gone on since then.
Yeah, so I sent a follow-up email to the one that I called last week, and then I filled out a contact, just a contact form for Project Beaver.
For which one? Project
Beaver.
Project Beaver. Yeah. One of the things I was wondering, and after a few more calls, I'll kind of see. It feels like a lot of the ones that are on the giving block are larger organizations, and that it means that it might be harder to get the decision maker. Anyways, hoping to make a couple more calls before I make that determination. And I had a couple of ideas for some smaller nonprofits to reach out to. Actually, the ones that Elle had mentioned were also a little bit smaller. Yeah. Anyways, all this to say, no progress. Hope to make some more progress over the next week. Working on our own communities. So Arkisty's working on historical accounting. Do you want to give an update on this, Arkisty?
Yeah, well, I didn't make much progress last week, but hopefully I cleared off some stuff so I can start focusing on it.
Sweet.
Because I got the move done, and then some other stuff was going on, so it's kind of a crazy week. But anyway.
Yeah, fair enough. The intent is after we get the historical accounting done, for us to make it easier to get tokens to all the people here. So we'll see how we can make that work. But yeah, that's the intent behind it. So we have a couple ways to do that, but maybe we will send out tokens to people who have things on the what did we ship last week, or maybe we will give tokens to people who are using the card, that kind of thing. Anyways, working on that. We'll set up next steps. Get tokens to contributors. All right. Hop into our task perspective here. All right, moving down on the list. Community pages milestone 1. We already got an update on this. Did you want to say anything else on this, Tom?
Check the link in the chat if you want to see it.
Oh yeah, I see it right there. Actually, I may as well take that link and stick it into the login. Oh, don't want to dox myself on YouTube, although I guess I already just did. But either way, I'll put it on here for us to put it on the community pages here. And if you guys want to see it, take a look. Definitely something worth trying. We're static. Here is a test site. All right. And you can take a look at it as you wish. Community leader research, we have no progress on this, as I kind of just mentioned. Same with this draft sales pipeline. Ensure everyone at the BCard event gets an NFT. Last step on this is to send out the email. And so it's the same as last week. Just need to get a header image. And NF Thinker said he would help Drost with this. Nice. Make it easy for us to get tokens to contributors. As we said before, we're looking at getting the historical tokens first. Goals, historical accounting complete. Figure out a way to get quick tokens to contributors. All right. On the endowment fund side, next step up is for me. Next up, April snapshot. All right. So hopefully I get that up today. Glow Dollar from a communication perspective. We're still waiting on Glow Dollar from that, and then processing audio from the DSI AMA. I actually didn't get a chance to listen to it yet, Drost. Did anyone get a chance to listen to some of the things that Drost dropped?
No, I meant to take a listen to that, but I haven't had time yet. But yeah, I will definitely be listening to those. Thanks for sending them across, Drost.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick it
Sure.
in.
Yeah, I just put one clip out there right now, which is Kimberly Hicks, and it's a real good summary of what OMF is about and what kinds of diseases they're targeting. So that it was a real good couple-minute summary of that, and it's just the audio with the follow-along text. So I wanted to see if that's the kind of thing you guys want, and then I can embellish it and stuff.
Nice.
And I've got others. There's lots of good stuff from that. Lots of good content from it.
Nice. Okay, yeah, I like that. And we could also make some images for that too. I think, right? Like, I guess I'm not sure what you thought in terms of the audiogram. I guess the audiogram is just the words on it, so maybe I'm being off with
Well,
that.
no, when I do the transcript and then it generates this thing automatically. So all I got to do, it requires zero effort, which is why, other than finding the clips. But then embellishing it, cleaning it up, it's got tools in the script that let me do
Sweet. All right.
graphics, and that's how I generate the audiogram. So that's all adding media after you get the content you want. Because what you don't want to do is embellish everything. Go, oh, let's edit it. Then it's a pain in the ass. So you want to get the content right first and then embellish the graphics. But that's generally the way. So I want to find out what you guys want first. If that's the kind of stuff you like, grab more content like that, and then try and give it a consistent look. Maybe put Kimberly's image on there with OMF and stuff, things like that.
Sweet. I will take a look at it today and let you know.
Cool. No worries. Like I said, I've been traveling, so I wanted to get that out before I left, and I was kind of glad you didn't have any time to deal with it because I didn't have any time to follow up with it anyway.
Like two ships passing in the night, but of course we will eventually we will sync. That's why we have this meeting to sync as well. So it's good. All right, great. So I'll look at that today. I can also look at some of the other clips as well, or I guess like look at the whole transcript, like we did for some of our weekly meetings in the past, if you like, if that helps.
Yeah, and I can pull some more clips. So yeah, take a look at that one, see if you like it, and then, like I said, I've got a couple others pulled out that I just haven't posted yet.
Sweet, sounds good. And on looking at the all team projects, is this everything we're working on? Is there other things that we're working on that aren't on this list? All right, great. Well, let's get into what did we ship last week. All right, so I made a prod release for the new rewards page. I talked up BCard at FarCon. Actually, let's say FarCon output. I kind of just want to leave a little space to talk about that. I generated Tom generated a login sample deployment for the Black Flag community test page. Everyone should take a look if you can. Everyone should try logging in, preferably with BCard account. I feel like I just totally butchered that word, but anyways, preferably with the BCard account. Tom clicked send for the monthly statements and clicked settle for bank and hire rewards. Nice. I'm going to post that on social media. I just need to update our little spreadsheet, which only takes me 30 minutes. So I'll try to do that today. And Joe shared a clip from OMF, which we need to review as well. Anything else that people ship that aren't on this list? All right. All right. Well, let's get into discussion items. So I did go to FarCon. I did talk up BCard. And I think like the even better thing was that I was using BCard the entire time. I decided to use it as a test run. It's actually quite expensive for me to use BCard as like my regular card here in Canada because first I have to convert money to American dollars. Then I have to send that money onto BCard, which takes honestly, it doesn't take that long to send the money. That's kind of the easiest part. But I'm losing money on the exchange from Canadian to American, and then I'm losing money every time I spend in Canada because they do a conversion back to Canadian. So it's actually
Sorry
quite
to interrupt,
expensive.
Links, but that wouldn't be a problem if Canada was the 51st state.
You think so, but I bet you they would find some way to screw me.
Sorry, just having a laugh, just lightening the mood.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess like that's possible, and I guess I'm also too cynical to believe that that's true.
That would definitely make it easier for the BCard to be deployed in Canada as well, though.
Yep.
Absolutely,
Well,
but I don't think Mark Carney's going to pass it just for us.
yeah. He said never like 8 times. Anyways,
and Trump said, "So you're saying there's a chance?"
yeah, exactly. I think Trump as the dude from Dumb and Dumber is definitely it's definitely kind of the way to do
Love
it. Yeah. So yeah, I think like in general, it worked really, really well. As I was using it on my phone for the most part. I didn't actually even try to swipe it. I was just using it on my phone. And literally it worked everywhere. There was not a place in New York City, and obviously it's New York City, right? Like, so it makes a lot of sense that they would have the most updated like taps and that kind of stuff. But there's not a place in New York City that didn't accept it, including transit. So like I was able to kind of freely move across the city. And so that was great. The amount updated in real time. The biggest issue for me was when I was like looking to pay. I had cash and I had my B card, and it was not fast for me to see my current balance on my B card. So like you do get notifications from Apple Pay when you spend something, like it says that you spent something, but it doesn't say how much is left. Anyways, and when I opened the B card app, it would often take like, up to a minute sometimes to see what my balance was. So that's something that I think we could do better. It's not a deal breaker by any means, but I do think that there was like kind of a little bit of anxiety around there for me. Like, should I use this? Because if I use this for buying food, maybe I won't be able to have enough money to get a train home, and it's shittier to get a train with cash than it is to just use my tap on my cash. So I ended up sometimes paying for food with cash, and when I could have used my B card and that kind of thing. Anyways, all this to say that there were definitely some transactions that didn't happen because I didn't know what my balance was. But other than that, I think like it was like relatively seamless. The fact that it was on my phone and it had the Nouns branding on it was a huge conversation starter. People thought that it was like kind of like the coolest thing that there was a Nouns card, but no one signed up for it, right? And so that's something that I think was really interesting. I asked a couple people if they would sign up, and a lot of them were like, honestly, not really. Like I already have my cards. It's not something that I would necessarily look to do right now. And then I asked them like, well, would you use it if it was like easier to vote at Nouns? And not necessarily that we can make it easier to vote at Nouns with our current technology, but just the idea that like, hey, if it's your community and it made it easier to vote, people are like, well, that I would at least try, because voting on my phone right now kind of sucks. Voting with the wallet that I have right now kind of sucks. It's not great. It's fine, but it's not that good. All this to say that definitely when I was pulling the card out at FarCon, like there's something there that's like really compelling, but there's not enough there to get users to use it. We're not hitting like a burning issue for users yet. I don't think voting is going to necessarily be that burning issue either. Some people say that you have to like aim at a top of mind problem and maybe even look at the toothbrush test, which is like, hey, are you going to use this twice a day? So that's kind of like some of the things that you're looking for when you're trying to build some products. And it definitely feels like right now, while there's something there with BCard, there's some spark there. We're not solving anyone's burning issue yet. And to be clear, we're aiming to solve the burning issue of the communities, not necessarily the individuals, with the intent that the communities will help kind of drive that distribution for us. But it's really good to get that kind of experience from people on the street, let's say. So yes, that was kind of the output from FarCon. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, that does sound really interesting. I when I switched a couple of years ago from credit cards to prepaid credit cards, I often felt that same issue that you were noting about balance anxiety. I don't know if that's that must be a common thing or whatever, right? But like trying to like maintain a mental record of like the money that you have preloaded on a preloaded card, for some reason it's taxing. I was thinking maybe something like a little HTML widget or something like that for authenticated users to have that be fed out. We should be able to write that. So.
Oh, interesting. I didn't think about that, but that actually makes a lot of sense. And those widgets are available on both iOS and Android. But we can do those as HTML widgets?
Yeah, we should be able to web clip it out, but the question will be authenticating to get the correct information for the user and do that in a secure way. So it should be doable, but might be a security sort of step through.
Yeah, I mean, if it's literally just showing their balance, and it's like a secured token.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
we have those secured tokens saved in the HTMLs, right? So it should be available because of the web app, and that's all standard system wide. So I think it's
Yeah.
possible. It theoretically seems possible.
All right. Theoretically, seems possible to show fast balance via some sort of web clip or
Do we need
iOS.
to run that by compliance with Transcard?
Probably we would, yeah.
Okay.
Or iOS and iOS/. Well, I mean, we're not actually sharing the user info. Anyways, something for us to take away and maybe talk at the product thing. But yeah, web clip for iOS, Android. Widget. I was also thinking like we could, and like this isn't something I think we necessarily should do. We could send like an email or a text message, or text message with current balance after every PX. Might get annoying. We'd have to make this turn offable. For me, I would prefer to get a text than an email. But yeah, I don't know. How would you feel about that, Tom? If you were spending with something and you got a text or an email telling you your balance?
Yeah, maybe like there's like a shopping mode toggle that you turn on and off. You're just like when you go out and you're shopping a bunch and you want those like active notifications, it's on for like a fixed time frame or something like that of the next day, 24 hours or something like that, and allows you to have sort of like direct real time communicative feedback from each transaction. I think that would be neat. I wouldn't. I don't know if I would turn it on all the time, but there are certainly times to alleviate any fears that it would be useful.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was kind of like that notification screen that we were talking about, where it just kind of says like each type of notification as like kind of a row in a list, and then like an email column and a SMS column, which shows like a checkbox that you can check or uncheck. Anyways, something to think about. I don't think it was a deal breaker, but yeah, like I said, like there were definitely more transactions that would have gone through if I didn't have that anxiety. So, yeah, maybe optimizing the wrong place right now, but something worth noting. All right. Anything else we want to talk about related to FarCon? I think like actually, well, I mean, I may as well share this. It's kind of like unfiltered thoughts, but the idea that how am I going to say this in a proper way? The idea that the primary value of crypto is money right now. That's something that was kind of hitting me a little bit at FarCon, especially since we've had these announcements. So Coinbase announced that they have like a new HTTPS code 402 to make it easier to pay over HTTP, with the intent being that kind of like, oh well, a facilitator like Coinbase would make it happen behind the scenes. But there's basically a better integration to pay for things using stablecoins or crypto via HTTP. So that's kind of like out already. Privy now has these new like they're using the what is it, 4702? I don't know. I was looking at the other. They're using 7702 support on day one. They're saying so. There's going to be additional ways for us to run transactions for users and pay for those transactions, like Paymaster and these other kinds of things. That's all going to be on the EOA, and Privy is going to have support for that on day one, which is really interesting. And then just like talking to like the people whose apps I think are doing well, at least from like the people whose apps and teams are doing really well right now, are the ones who kind of lean into this idea that crypto is money. And so like, like it's not that there's no other place for it. It's just kind of like at the time that we have right now with stuff deregulating and areas like that, the idea that we can make it easier to facilitate transactions using crypto, that's kind of where the winners and losers are going to be in this cycle, it seems like. And so, yeah, that was just a thing that was on my mind as I was doing it, as I was at FarCon. So, for instance, like groups like Bracky, who are really just like, they're essentially gambling, but it's really done. It's done in a really well done way. Groups like Splits, who make it easier to share. They're really looking at small businesses, and they're like, how can we facilitate small business spending and small business receiving of crypto? And then and then groups like Hypersub, who are kind of like pivoting from this idea of like a creator-centered model because it's too early to something like a little bit more on the exchange side. All this to say that I think that the fact that we're a card, the fact that we are helping people do transactions already, and the fact that we can potentially, with this regulation loosening up, and there was a leak of the regulation from the House Committee to in the United States of what's going to be possible. It looks like more and more there's going to be more tools for us to be able to use to help users facilitate transactions. I don't have any output from this. I just wanted to share it with everyone because I think that it's pertinent and it's on my mind. Anyways, yes. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, it feels like it's heading back towards what our original concept was, and working with somebody like Marquetta, who had a much easier on-off ramp set up with their product, it seemed like. Working with Transcard, they, as accommodating as they've been to us and helping us get in the door with the bank and be able to run transactions via their rails and access all that API data. That's not something that we normally would have been able to do. For example, with Marquetta and larger companies like that, obviously they were looking for larger transaction volumes, essentially. So Transcard has been very accommodating in that respect. They've really helped us dip our toe into transacting. But with deregulation coming, it seems like there will both be more options for us in terms of potentially global rollouts, because the minute regulations start to ease in the United States is the minute that it becomes easier to transact globally. And it just makes the whole system a lot more lubricated. And at the same time, Transcard will have more options open to them. Like we were discussing recently, they're going to open operations in Canada sometime soon. So hopefully we can get access to that. But just looking on more of a global perspective, what can we do with these new tools that are coming out that still sort of supports our main thesis, which is allowing communities to have a hub where they can, help engage their members, and their members can learn about crypto, right? Let's not forget the crypto education side of this. That's kind of how we started. So yeah, we were, I guess you could say, amputated at the beginning when regulations were clamping down. FTX went under. Everything was everyone was putting the brakes on. It was literally Operation Choke Point 2.0 that had some banks essentially defaulting, going out of business, investors losing money, and the crypto market lost momentum. So yeah, I mean, what you sound there, Link, sounds very, it's invigorating to hear that. And yeah, can't wait to see what options we have in front of us moving forward in this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Like our goal is to bridge the gap between Web 2 and Web 3 in the real world. And I think like you're right that like just as things started to get going in the last cycle, and we were like, okay, these tools are available to us, let's use them. A lot of those tools kind of got taken away from us because of regulation. So now that it's getting opened up, there could be some more interesting things happening. All this to say that we need to. It's only going to work for us if we really understand where our niche is and how we can actually make it work. There are things that we do that no one else does, right? The fact that we're a nonprofit, I think, really is unique, and it allows us to do things that other people can't do. The fact that we've kept our burn so low allows us to do things that other groups can't do. So just using these new tools, using our strengths to use these new tools, it could open some opportunities for us. But we have to kind of discuss those opportunities. We kind of have to embrace those opportunities. We kind of have to be open and willing to change as we need to. And I think that that's really important. And we also need to ensure that we are kind of following the winds as they kind of the way, the direction that we're going is also dependent on the way that the winds are blowing too. And it's not like we're going to like this organization is never going to be like, hey, we're just going to make a ton of money and peace out, right? Like that's not what our goal is. Our goal is really to empower communities, right? And to bridge that gap. But we need to be able to use these tools as they come up. Sorry, NF Thinker, I see you unmuted.
Yeah, I was just gonna just talk about like a personal use case that I think could increase usage. So the problem for me with voting is oftentimes you're lacking context because there may have been a proposal through, but you probably haven't read 3 or 4 paragraphs about what it is, let alone fully understand what is happening with a vote, politics, motives behind, etc. And voting becomes not just tiresome, but in some cases also hazardous. I wonder if it might be worth simplifying what people want to vote on. Some of the votes that I remember taking part in early Bankless DAO days were just surveys in the timeline, right? It would just be in a channel and somebody would set up a survey using whatever it was we used for it was like Sesh-esque type survey thing. And it's just an easy voting thing that you can do. What if we were to tie in anytime somebody made a purchase, they had a notification pop up from their community, and that was, okay, you made a purchase. What do you think about this? And they could literally just run a survey, and it doesn't have to be necessarily on chain. I know our point here is on chain voting, but just to test out maybe a survey feature or community feedback feature, because ultimately, if you want to bring the communities closer to the individuals, you want to open up a feedback loop that's easy and simple and joyful for both parties. So I don't know, just something that crossed through my mind today while I was buying a sandwich at the local bakery.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think you're right. I think we could get. I think I was talking to Humpty about voting actually, because he was just like, "Oh yeah," I was saying "Oh, I really like those hats that you created for your on-chain creator house," and he said, "Yeah, I actually wanted to make these hats black, but I put a vote up and everyone wanted, or no, I wanted to make them purple, but I put a vote up and everyone wanted to make them green, so I made them green." And I was just like, actually, that's the best thing to vote on is things that are really subjective like that.
Mhm.
Hey, do you like purple or green? Not hey, should we use should the purpose of on-chain creator house be X or Y, right? Because that's just too high that doesn't lend itself to voting as more.
Yeah, exactly. Like Pablo from Moondao says, you can let the people decide whether or not we send a rocket to space, but you can't let them decide how many engines that rocket has. I think that's a
Exactly.
job for a rocket scientist. And the reason why I said it came to me while I was ordering a sandwich today was because I downloaded their loyalty app while I was there. The lady onboarded me from behind the cash register. It was kind of an annoying process because you got to sign up and do the whole email and phone and create a new password, and there's people in the queue waiting. But beyond that onboarding experience, every time I go to use my loyalty card now, I just whip out the app, scan a QR code, and then at that point it could say to me, "What's your favorite sandwich?" And I would just say this one, select from 4 different sandwiches. And that's a very simplified version of what we might be doing, or a very specific version rather.
Yeah.
But things like that could certainly work, where you pay with your B card. Maybe it registers where you're at. I mean, eventually we could create networks of things. So like if you paid for something at a fuel station, they might ask you something related to auto, to a car, whatever that may be. That, like, what is voted on in the future, who knows? But I think starting now on a smaller scale, it's really maybe figuring out a way of how do we connect the payment to feedback and make that feedback something where if they answer it, maybe they get something for it, maybe they get some tokens for it. If they don't want to answer it, they can turn off notifications and never see them ever again. But it's just one extra way for that community to then interact in a non-invasive way in the moment. I think that's very important as well, because another problem with voting is oftentimes you end up with, like, the night before a vote takes place, and then you go in and start reading about that. Then you read about all your other votes, and it's like a long and arduous process catching up on everything and trying to vote on these things that could have financial implications for people. And don't get me wrong, that's super important, but it's not consistent. You wouldn't do it twice a day, would you?
For voting, yeah. For governance
Right.
voting, you would not do it twice a day, right?
No, maybe twice a week. And
Yeah.
so
Maybe
and so,
twice a week, right?
yeah, maybe. Yeah, if you're lucky, if your community's lucky. So
Yeah.
what are the things that community members do on a more regular basis, on a daily level? Like, for a fitness place, they might just ask you, did you exercise today? I don't know, something simple like that. But, obviously the key is, how do we connect the transaction to an action?
Yeah. I mean, the key is, how do we make it engaging? And the hypothesis is, if there's some sort of action, if there's some sort of moment when it's high engagement, that's when you do it, not just like kind of
Mhm.
randomly, right?
And it could be like, say, double your points. So if you're gonna, you get 1-for-1 nogs or nouns tokens if you make this purchase, but answer the survey and you get double or triple points or whatever that may be.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, any other thoughts on this kind of line of thinking? All right. One thing I think, well, there's another thing that I just had an idea. Okay, so I either have an idea or what we should call our users. We don't have that much time, but I had an idea that I thought of while we were. It's something that's been rattling around in my brain, and I kind of wanted to share it. Would you rather hear that, or do you want to talk about what we should call our users?
Well, we can always talk about what we should call our users. That'll be more important as we get more users. But what's this idea in your head?
The idea in my head was like, people were kind of like I guess like a lot of people were onboarding to Farcaster as we were in New York, but those people didn't have crypto. And so the way that Farcaster is kind of like saying like, hey, we want funded wallets. That is our kind of metric of success right now, the number of users with funded wallets. The way that they're handling this is they're giving out cast rewards. So if you cast, well, they're doing this multiple ways. One of them is to give cast rewards. So if you cast, good content that gets engagement, like likes or replies or recasts, then they have a leaderboard every week, and they send out money every week. And so they're talking about expanding this. Right now, they give out something like, I think they said like $25,000 a week. So they're talking about expanding this to even further, to even more. So like, let's say 50,000 a week, and not just for cast rewards, but for other types of rewards. And they have a tipping system. So hey, every week I get a little call to action that says, hey, who are your favorite casters this week? Why don't you tip them? So then you can like select who engaged with your posts. It shows you a list of people who engage with your posts, and you can select the people who you want to tip. And that sends money to their Warplet, their in-app kind of wallet. So one of the things I was like is like, okay, so literally we were going to restaurants and people were onboarding the servers and stuff, right? Like they're like, hey, who are you guys? Oh, we're from Farcaster. It's this. And they're like, oh, some of my friends are in crypto, but I don't know anything about it. Hey, you should join Farcaster. I'll send you an invite right now. And by the way, you also get more rewards on the leaderboard for inviting people. And so, but those people, they don't have any crypto, right? And so they have to cast, they have to do these things. One of the things I was thinking that would be interesting, especially for artists or other people doing small things, is this idea of like an on-ramp that is like a really small on-ramp that you do in person. So like it's kind of like a decentralized on-ramp. Right now, if you want to on-ramp funds yourself, you have to go do a KYC in a like for like one of those like Coinbase or one of these other on-ramps, right? In Canada we have different ones. So instead, what if there was like a little app which allowed you to see people who would be willing to do little transfers for you? So, hey, I'm in Toronto. I would be willing to on-ramp up to $20 for anyone. You show up, you give me the cash, and I send it to your wallet. It's just like, it's not like a game changer in any way. It's really just like a small little mini application.
That sounds like money laundering to me.
Yeah, it's only money laundering if it happens at a large volume. The intent is really that it's kind of like
Okay.
yeah. So it's really like a cottage industry. Hey, this is your first this is your first wallet. Like, are you really going to go through all of the KYC process to do all this stuff? Maybe you don't even want that to happen. Like maybe you don't even want to give your driver's license to Coinbase. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah. I like the idea. Bon ramp sounds good. Bon ramp.
Yeah, exactly.
Coming from Canada, obviously, you and Tom are going to appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, it's a interesting concept. I don't know how it might scale. Well, the first thing that obviously came to mind was money laundering, which, as you said, if it's small amounts, then it's more peer to peer. Bo Bruskern has more knowledge than we would ever need regarding peer to peer. So if we did pursue something like that, it would definitely be worth speaking to him. And in terms of longevity, is it something that becomes like the new PayPal? Is it something that turns into something bigger, or is it just something to appease a current product market fit until everybody's onboarded to crypto?
Honestly, I
Does
think
it live on beyond the onboarding stage?
I don't know, right? Like I don't know, because I think it's really like, I think it's more of just like a proof of concept app more than anything else. I don't think that like, 'cause, like, yeah, once you want to take out like $1,000, you can't do it this way, right? Like it just doesn't, like, then it really is going to be like money laundering.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
you can't really do
Would
it
they
this way.
would they use it twice a day? Probably not.
Yeah.
It is a cottage industry, but it feels like something that would be more like an open source,
Yes.
I don't know, or a chat board.
Exactly. Well, so like the reason I was also thinking about it is that like while I was there, everyone kept referring to me as the Toronto Farcaster guy. And like
Oh yeah.
one of the things that I do at the meetups is if people are like, "Hey, I don't know how to like get my money off the DGen chain because like, they're getting DGen tips." And I was just like, "Oh, I'll just send you a little DGen on the DGen chain," right? Like it's like trivial for me to do it, but it's like it's a day's worth of work for you to do it, right? And so like if
Yeah,
you already know
exactly.
something in the space, it's kind of like just do it. It's like a way for people to like, hey, just show up at the Farcaster meetup. I have them every first Friday of the month, and I'll do it for you, right? It's kind of like from a in-person community perspective, it felt like very complimentary because like, hey, there's a dude in Toronto who will change like $20 at a time for you if you want, if you're new to the space and you don't want to go through all that on-ramping BS. And then you can have, the gas money you need to create your own Zora account or your own NFT thing and test out this space for real, right?
Hmm. Yeah. Um, I mean, whether or not we make an app out of it, do you think that's worthwhile, or something that maybe we could integrate something within the app? What did you have in mind?
Honestly, I would see it as like a mini app on Farcaster. And like it wouldn't be like a hey, we're aiming for the moon with this. It would be just like a thing like we did with Taxman, right? Like something small.
Yeah, that
And
sounds
honestly,
interesting.
I don't even know if it's worth pursuing yet at all. It's really just like
Well,
a
if it's
hey,
a
let's
mini
throw
app
the
on
idea out there.
Farcaster, then it becomes a potential source of a grant.
Yep.
So I vote yes. If that's something you're interested in building, then I would say, it's probably worth our time if we can onboard people and get something from the Farcaster ecosystem.
Yeah, I would look at it as a page on that Black Flag Collective app actually.
Okay.
And so yeah. So technically, Tom, it might not be possible, but it's not something that I think that we should focus on right now anyways. Like we really need to do
Yeah, but something to consider.
yeah. Anyways, any other feedback on the idea?
I was just gonna say, I think it's useful and probably a tool that some people would find applicable. The discovery would be the challenge, but once you got users find out about it, it could catch fire.
Any other feedback? So I heard about this thing. Have you ever heard of Banano? Banano is a blockchain as well. It's based off of Nano, and I heard that people in South America were using it as like a table transaction on ramp off ramp mechanism, and so that's why I thought it was kind of interesting that people would do this. They would pay each other in Banano, and then someone might like say like, hey, I need to like get some reals. Hey, can you trade me some Banano for reals? Anyways, just a thought. How did you guys get your first money on crypto?
It's a long story. I would say probably back in 2016, I was doing some Bitcoin chores on chain for collecting some Bitcoin dust. Socked it into a wallet, forgot about it till 2020. And then that was kind of my seed money to get started. I took that money and I chunked it into Coinbase and bought some crypto from there.
Nice. I sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I sent some money to Bitstamp, which is an Estonian exchange. Well, it's based in Estonia. It's just a global exchange, obviously. And then I ended up, I think I bought some Stellar XRP, that type of thing. And then I opened a Binance account because I wanted to get IOTA. And that was pretty much it. So yeah, and I barely ever use those now. Well, I never used Bitstamp. I pretty much transferred everything out of Bitstamp, and now I mostly just transact on chain.
Nice. Yeah, so for me, I had like a bunch of bank and nothing else. And I like opened an account with ShakePay to do it. Had a bunch of bank and nothing else. And then I use ShakePay to send a small amount of ETH to non-custody wallet, and never sent any money and never on ramped any money after. Yeah, so that's my story. Anyone else want to share their story? All right. Well, we're coming up on the end of our time. Just want to thank you all for being here. I do think that we're kind of on the cusp of something here, right? Like things are changing. There is a new bill coming to the United States House, which will make crypto transactions much easier and legal. There is like a new director of the SEC, which is not aiming to stop all crypto transactions. I'll also say that like the headwinds that we were experiencing starting in 2021 are finally starting to ease off, and we are still here, right? And we've learned a lot of lessons, and so our resilience will allow us to take advantage of what these headwinds are now turning into tailwinds. So essentially, there's going to be opportunity for us to do things. And I think that the fact that we've stuck together this long as a team gives us an opportunity that no other group has, which is really to take advantage of some of these things with the experience that we've had, with the perspective and positioning that we have. And so this could be, 2025 could be a really extraordinary time for the crypto industry, and it could be a really extraordinary time for BCard. And so ultimately, I just want to thank you guys all for being where we've been. We did so much in the last, I think, like 4 years, right? We essentially created a card that no one thought was possible. We essentially started to give money to purpose-driven communities in a way that no one else thought was possible. We've done it in multiple ways. Yes, the card, but as well the endowment fund. As well, we released multiple products, and we're still going. I think that that's really important and cannot be understated how important that is. That resilience is what we built this organization for, and that resilience is what's going to allow us to take advantage of some of these things. When a bunch of other groups in the space had to leave for various reasons, we stayed. And so I just want you guys to remember that as we're moving forward. We can take advantage of these opportunities now because of all of the work that we put in the past. And a lot of it is because of you. So I just want to thank you all for being here. Thank you all for continuing to be here. And yeah, let's fucking make it happen in 2025.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's do it.
All right.
They'll never take our freedom.
They'll just make us all poor by tanking the world economy. But anyway.
Stress, that's a pessimism creeping in. Stop.
I
We're
know,
manifesting
sorry.
destiny here.
I know. Gotta keep the
Good
politicians
vibes
from.
only.
Yep.
All right, make it happen together. Thanks a lot, everyone. Talk to you later.
Have a great week.
Have a great time, guys.